Hello and welcome back to My Own Worst Enemy. I'm going to do just a very quick unboxing today. We are going to be looking at the Struggle for Zorn, the Red Blight. This is from Herman Lettman, Fred Monzo, and Ryan Heilman. I had the opportunity to play test this, I should say, with Herman at the Armchair Dragoons in-person convention in Cary, North Carolina. And if you weren't there, you missed a great convention. It was a lot of fun. But I did get an opportunity to sit down with Herman and a couple of other players and give this a try. There were 4 of us total. And I have to say, I was really impressed with this game. It is a fantasy game. It is along the lines of Game of Thrones, where you have this red blight coming in from the north, and you have these houses that unite to try to fight off that red blight. And it was really fun to play. So what do we have? We have a 22 by 34 inch game map, so a standard size, what we think of as a standard size game map, 231 3/4 inch counters, 14 standees. Those will represent your sorcerer, sorceress, and your heroes. We have 22 playing cards, 15 player boards, and I'll show you how the way those work. Those are really neat too. And 3 player aids, a game tracker, a rule book, 50 cubes, and dice. 13 dice in total. Now there will be, as noted on the back of this box, not just D6s in here, but you're going to have D8s, D10s, D12s, and even a D20. So when I say fantasy, if you're familiar with role-playing games, this is fantasy. Solitaire suitability is at a 10. This game is, and like I said, I play tested it with 3 other people. And as I was play testing this with those other people, I was also looking at it, of course, from a point of view as, does this solo well? And I'm happy to report that it in fact does do just that. Complexity is a 5. That might be a bit much, but I didn't think it was that difficult to learn. Of course, I did have Herman there helping me along to learn the game, but I don't think it's that difficult to learn. I'm going to put this in the corner and we'll just dive in here. Now, when Blue Panther, and that's who printed this game, when Blue Panther put this on their site, there was an initial run of copies of this that came with a canvas map. So I jumped on that, and I did manage to snag a canvas map. So we'll look at that when we get to the map. And let's just go in from start to finish here. Whatever's on top, we'll take a look at and dig our way down. So here's all those bits and pieces that were mentioned, and I'm going to pull some of these out. So here's the different dice that you get, and you do get just as it said. And these are nice. These are not the typical dice that I'm used to seeing from Blue Panther. And Blue Panther continues to improve their printing and their publishing skills. So that is awesome to see. These are the D6s. These are actually not the PIP D6s, but they have the actual numbers written on them. And then these look like what you would see in a role-playing game. These are the RPG dice, as I like to call them. There's the D12s. There's the D20. So if you play D&D, you know you're trying to roll a 20. There's a 17. That's not bad. That's old school. Nowadays, these dice get used for roll overs and roll unders and all kinds of different mechanics. And then these cubes. So there's different cubes that you will use in the game to mark different things. So we'll eventually get to a playthrough of this, I am quite certain. So I'm going to keep digging in here. And it looks like this is just these are the standees. So this is what those little figures are going to stand in. I will punch one of these out so we can see it together. So what will happen is you will punch this circle out, and then in that circle there is a little, and I'm probably going to need an X-Acto knife or something to punch this out with. Actually, no, I'm not. It came out pretty easy, so that was nice. Little standees will go into this. The base will go into that slot, and they will stand up on the board, and you'll be able to see where your sorceress and your hero is located. And let's go ahead and pull those out now too. And I'm going to get the cards out of the way for a second. And so now this is a counter sheet that does include some tokens. So it is going to have some field knights, and you will have armies. So that's what this is going to represent. Death Riders, all kinds of crazy things in your knights and everything else. So these are the standees that I was talking about. So if you'll look, you can see that those, and we'll pop one of these out here. Let's just grab the first one. And who is this? If I can read this, Namtel the Great. So you would take this standee. The base of this, of course, would slide into that slot. And let's see if I can do it. And it just goes right in. And there you go. You can't see that because it's standing up, but this is what it looks like when it's in the stand. And you would have that on the board. And you'd easily be able to tell where your hero or where your sorcerer, sorceress is located. Well, we'll set that aside for now. And I'm going to go ahead and punch out the player's house. I don't know what you would call this, a informational type sheet. Now these just punch right out, so that's good. There are some nibs. There may be some slight nib cleaning up to do on these. I'm going to set these counters aside. So this is House Newman. What do you call it? What do they call those things in video games? It's a, oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind here, but it's a Easter egg is what I'm trying to think of. So there's a Seinfeld Easter egg in this game. A lot of these houses are named for Seinfeld characters. Now the neat thing about the player's house, and that's what this is, the House of Newman. So you would have other houses in the game. And let's go ahead and pull those out. You can see here that there are in fact 5 houses, different colors of those houses. The neat thing about, one of the neat things about this game, you have these little side cards. These represent your magic user and your hero. And you'll note that those are all different colors. In fact, they're different colors than what you see with the house. So when you play this game and you have your house, that's not going to change. You're going to be the House of Newman. But what will change is who might be your magic user and who might be your hero. You would have, let's say in this case, these two fit nice and snug with your house. This would be your house. So you would have this Regent Zenoi and who is this? It looks like Cersei the Odd. So this is how you would play when you start the game. This is who your magic user and your hero would be. Goes with your house. Right in front of you, you can see what exactly their abilities are. Everything is right here. Well, if you play the game again, you may not have the same hero and the same sorcerer. You may have one of these. So these are just, like I said, more houses. We'll punch out a couple of more. And these are attached by nibs, so you may have to trim that just a little bit. But they do, in fact, come off pretty easy. And I'm going to set these other houses aside so we can take a look at this. And I'm getting counter crumbs all over the tabletop here. So you can see these mix and match. You can put these anywhere. And that's going to add to replayability for this game. So you're going to have different heroes, different magic users. And it's a genius idea, honestly. The fact that you can just mix and match these, that is a really genius idea. Really great design choice to add to replayability in this game. And like I said, it is a fun game. So let's go ahead and continue to dig on into the box. And let's go ahead and get the counters, the rest of these counters out. And there are a lot of the counters in here. So let's see, there's 2 more counter sheets. Now you saw all the houses there. These are the additional counters that you will get. So there will be, as you can see, there will be treasure in this game. And you can gain treasures, you can rescue hostages, you can find supplies as you encounter these locations on the gaming map, and I'll show you the back of this while I'm talking. There's also relics, so the relics are special. You really want to try to obtain those. This is called a semi-cooperative game, and so the way that's going to work is I continue to show these counters to you, and these are some of the more of the armies, and you can see there's some evil tortoises there, and some terror beasts and other evil things in the world. But a semi-cooperative game, you're going to be working, these houses will be working together to stop this blight that's coming in. However, there can be one winner at the end of the game. If you have the most, what they call glory points, and you'll get that from winning battles and finding relics and things. If you have the most glory points, you will win the game overall. So yeah, you're working together to stop this blight, but you can also have the option, and it is an option, to have a final overall player that stands at the very end as the strongest house that ends up becoming the hand of the crown. This is the rule book, and I paused because I noticed here that it is spiral bound. That is really nice to see. We're going to just open this up and look. The paper, it is semi-glossy and looks like it will stand up to the test of time, especially since it has this spiral-bound binder here. That is really nice. The text, the font is large and very easy to read. Looks like there are 51 pages. Now that sounds like a lot, but again, the text in this is large and it really is not a difficult game to learn. And very nice artwork. And here are all of the game components. So it's going to spell out exactly what those are and what they do. A terrain chart here, tell you about the mountains and the swamps. Territory will come into play, the blight dens, flanking areas, and all sorts of goodness. If you like fantasy gaming or if you like the fantasy genre, this is a fun game to play. I highly recommend it. We will play this on the channel, I guarantee you. The game setup is here. Very clearly laid out. And I like I said, when we play tested this thing at Cary, North Carolina at the Gamers Armory, there was nothing that I found difficult about this game. It was easy to set up. Took a little bit of time, not much, but it was a very, very fun game to play. There are daytime turns. There are nighttime turns. You will have supplies in this game. So you're going to have to be watching out for your supply levels. You can trade amongst the houses to try to negotiate, you know, hey, give me some of your rations and I'll maybe give you a relic, although I don't think that would be a very good trade, but you never know. You got to keep your forces alive. There is magic in the game, and that will come into play through your, of course, magic users. And missile combat, you'll have these boom stickers, which are firing musket-type devices. Swordsman, cavalry, it's all in here. Melee combat, so you'll have melee combat into this. House versus house combat. So we just talked about how the houses are united to try to rid the north of that blight that's coming in. But as you can see here, you don't have to play nice with your house. You can go all Game of Thrones and attack one of the houses because you want to become the hand of the crown. Movement. And again, you can see how large the text is here. Nighttime game turns. The game will play differently at night. I believe there are 10 days total, if I remember that correctly in the game. Maybe misremembering that. There are special abilities in the game as well. And here's your design team. I'll let you take a quick look at that. We always like to call out all of the designers. We talked about the 3 designers, but there are the artists in there as well. So we always want to shout out to the artists. All right, so that is the game rulebook. And I think the last thing, of course, are the player's aid charts. And this is the red blight. So this is what you will be fighting. And we'll start with the tortoises. You can see ambushers, minion hordes, all kinds of nasties in here. And of course, they're going to have, it looks like, some magic users as well. Backside of this are the magic tables. So we do have mana blessings and spell casting going on for your magic users. There are events in the game. And if you've watched the channel, you know I love random events. And so here they are, random events that come into play. Both sides are random events. Very nice turn sequence of play chart here. And it has the daytime and the nighttime information on here as well. The melee combat is here. There are even mercenaries that you can hire. So that just, again, more, it just adds more to the game. And this is the tracker for your gold, your magic user level, your magic user. The magic level can increase for your magic user, the gold, the food, supplies. And there, of course, are the glory points that as you as a single house player are trying to obtain these glory points, it is possible that you could become the hand of the crown at the end of the game if you were playing with that option. Otherwise, you could just play cooperative and just have the united goal of defeating the blight without actually having to worry about who's going to win with the most glory points. So now let's dig into the canvas map that came with this game, and this is pretty large. And if you've purchased Blue Panther games, you'll know that this is something they are doing now. And I think this might be the first full-size game map that I have purchased from them that has the canvas map. Now I'm going to turn this sideways just to get it all on the map. This is a standard size game map. And that lays out nice and flat. You may have to put something on it to get it to pooch down or stop pooching. Get it to lay down completely flat, but that's not going to be a problem. As you can tell here, it's pretty much flat as it is. And I'm going to turn it now vertical so that we can start at the top and just kind of work our way down and see what is exactly here. Activation track is up here. Turn track, of course, is here. And you can see it looks like there are, maybe it's 12 days, but you have 2 turns, then it's night. 2 turns, then it's night. Maybe it's what am I saying, 12 days? It's not 12 days. Looks like 4 complete days because it's 1, 2, 3, 4 days, and then 12 is the last night turn that you will go through. So 4 days of this is going on. And so the blight will start up here where these red arrows are located, and they will work their way down, and the different different game mechanics will determine which path they will follow. You can see these arrows. So they're going to be coming down anywhere on this map. You, of course, will be coming from the bottom of the map. So you're going to start down here in A, B, C, D, and E. And you're going to try to come up and stop those forces as they're coming down. There are towns on the game. I forget if they're called towns or strongholds, but they are on the game map as well. And on the sides, you can see there are some red arrows here on the side that says Blight entry. So that's a possible entry point for the Blight. There's also, you can try some flanking maneuvers. You can see these letters plus numbers. So instead of having to come in from the bottom all the time, you can actually delay your entry and come in higher up. So if you want to quickly get up to the north if something's going on, you can do that by coming in from higher up on the game map. And at the bottom of this map, there's a terrain effects chart, and there's some more information about road movement, number of units, and those kinds of things. So there it is, the struggle for Zorn. And not a lot in the way of fantasy war games out there that I can think of. So maybe this will inspire an uptick in more fantasy stuff. I don't know. Personally, I like the fantasy games, and I think that this one is going to do quite well once people start playing it and the word gets out. And oh, I skipped something here. I'm finishing up, and I haven't even showed you these event cards. So let's do that. But yeah, I think this game will catch on. I hope it does, because I would love to see more fantasy games coming out that we can play. So here, this is an event card. It says roll on the event table. You're going to pull these cards, and they will tell you what happens. When it's your turn, I believe, is when you draw these cards. So there's a blight wave. All blight units conduct movement, but will not enter house-occupied areas, so they won't attack you. RC or champion lead, just different kinds of things that'll happen in a game turn. Of course, there's spawns, so 2 minion hordes will appear on the game map. The cards are nice. They're the poker-sized playing cards. They feel like they're the nice coated ones that should stand up to the test of time. I will, of course, sleeve these, but they are very nice cards indeed. So there you have it. And let's put our little standy marker out there so you can look at that. I will do a playthrough of this game on the channel at some point to show you how it works. And I think that once you see how it works, you'll agree that, yeah, this is a fun game. But don't wait that long if you have an interest in this. Go to Blue Panther and order it. I think you'll find that it is well worth it, especially if you have any interest in the fantasy genre. All right, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. That helps support the channel. Subscribe if you have not. And as always, I look forward to seeing you back here next time.